Alrighty, so the stream has ended and we have been looking at everything, and my god, there's a lot of stuff going on with this update. And so I'm gonna split it up into two videos. We're gonna look at Melly right here really quickly first, and we're gonna go over some of his skills and everything and like what he kind of does. I'm gonna warn you right now, it's a lot of stuff. One of the questions that I always get asked is when is this coming out? This should be coming out tomorrow for JP and KR, and it should be coming out on Monday night / Tuesday morning for global, depending on your time zone. So just know that this is around the corner. It's not necessarily coming out like right this minute, but just be looking forward to it kind of deal. So this is the new Melly. They do show off a little bit of gameplay. They only did a KR stream this time. There was no JP stream, so we don't necessarily have two different streams to sort of pull info from or anything, but they did show some PvP off. They do show his costumes off. Honestly, I think he looks phenomenal. I think he looks fantastic. We'll skip to the PvP section really quickly so that way you guys can kind of see some of his, stuff at the beginning here. You can kind of see how he works a little bit. Maybe we show off actually his animations first, so that way I can go over the skills that he does. So his passive, I'll put it up on the screen here, so that way you can see it, because it is quite a lot. You can pause it and read it if you need to. But Demon King Meliodas Era's End. His passive is called Beginning of an End. At the start of the battle, applies Demon King's protection to himself, and whenever a specific ally uses a damaging card, apply 1 stack of Seed of Demise to the enemy, maximum of 3 stacks. So, we're going to stop there for a moment and go over some of this stuff. So, Demon King's protection is, at the start of the ally's turn, remove 1 stack of the debuff applied to all allies, and for each debuff removed, applies Energy of Darkness to himself. Now, Energy of Darkness is plus 10% defense-related stats, so it's going to make you tankier. And then apply 1 stack of Seed of Demise to the enemy, and then max of 3 stacks. So Seed of Demise is actually minus 10% defense-related stats. When the unit is attacked, when held max stacks of the debuff, all stacks are removed. So once they have 3 stacks, you attack them. You'll be able to do more damage, of course, because they're going to be missing 30% defense-related stats, and then it's going to reset those debuffs on them. So pretty interesting to start with. When the unit attacks an enemy with a full stack of Seed of Demise, which is 3 stacks, cancel the enemy's stance effect and applies 1 stack of Energy of Darkness to himself. So you're going to cancel their stance. Albedo in shambles, unfortunately. So is Deanne, unfortunately. And then you're going to get... what was it? Energy of Darkness. Energy of Darkness is plus 10% attack-related stats, so you'll gain even more defense-related stats. I think I said attack-related there, but that is not right. For every specific ally present in the battlefield, which his specific allies are down here, he can be ran with demons and 7 deadly sins. So one thing to note is that in the PvP section, they do actually show one of the teams that they use with him is a team with the new Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth's passive will apply to him because her passive can be used with 7 deadly sins, but his passive does not apply to her because obviously she is not a 7 deadly sin. So that is one thing to note. So for every specific ally present in the battlefield, increases the unit's base stats by 7%. So he's going to get 21% basic stats if they're all either demons or 7 deadly sins. And when the unit has 4 stacks of the Energy of Darkness, removes all stacks of it and applies the Beginning of Heaven and Earth to the unit. So he kind of works like a newer Purgatory Meliodas mixed with a Demon King. So you'll see what I mean by that with this new debuffs, or this new buff. So the Beginning of Heaven and Earth is plus 50% attack-related stats, so kind of like Purgatory Melee, removes all debuffs applied to the unit, and ranks up all cards, or all of the unit's cards, removed after using an attack card. So he gains attack-related stats, he cleanses himself, and he ranks up. So he's literally like a mix of Purgatory Melee and Demon King, which sounds like a lot. That is a ton of stuff to worry about. So that is quite insane, I would say. I think they just showed off his ultimate animation. I think it looks really, really cool. Let's skip over here to the PvP section really quickly so that way you can see some actual gameplay of him while we go over his actual skills. So, Skill 1 is Raging Fist. Inflicts destruction damage by 200% of the unit's attack to a single enemy, and destruction damage is times 2 crit damage, when the beginning of Heaven and Earth is applied, additional 2 times crit damage. So it's basically 2 times crit damage normally, and then when you have his big buff on, it's gonna double his crit damage again. Which I thought that it was crit chance, and then the crit damage was only when he had the buff on. But I don't know. He's better at translating this than I am. But yeah, lots of crit damage there. He can do a ton of damage with this single target. It's pretty insane. I think during one of these matches, we'll try to find it. He actually does get a rank 3 single target, and I mean, it does quite a lot. So we'll see that, I'm sure. Actually, I think it might have been not even a level 3 one. He might have done that against the Deanne. So you can see he uses the AoE here, and then he goes in with the single target. And he deals almost 600k turn 1 against Deanne, which is absurd. His second skill is Impulse, which is an AoE skill. Inflict demise damage by 120% of the unit's attack to all enemies. Demise is ×2 crit chance. Okay, so I think this is the one where I was getting confused. ×2 crit chance for every seed of demise applied to the enemy, which is the stacks that you put on them, increases damage by 20%. So they can have a maximum of 3 stacks on at one time. So you can technically do an additional 60% damage with this card if you play it right. So that's pretty interesting. The ultimate is called Obliteration, and it is applies buff that increases all stats by 30%. The scaling on this is a little weird. I think it's only 5% all stats at level 1, but at 6/6, of course, it's 30%, and applies 3 stacks of Seed of Demise. At 1/6, it's only 1 stack. I think it's 1 stack for the first 3 levels, so 1/6 through 3/6 is one Seed of Demise. 4/6 and 5/6 is 2 stacks, and then at 6/6 he's actually going to gain the 3 stacks. Then inflicts demise damage, which was the one that the AoE has, damage by 500% of the attack or the unit's attack on all enemies. So at 6/6 you're going to give them max stacks of Seed of Demise, and then that's going to give you an additional 60% damage dealt, which is going to be, I mean, it's insane already. He's going to pretty much wipe regardless, I think. But then he, of course, does have one of these passives tied to his ultimate, which is when the unit is present in the battlefield, the commandment effect that the unit is linked to gets activated, and when the Demon King's protection is applied to the unit, increases the unit's critical defense by 20% and decreases damage taken from single targets by 15%. So when the unit is present on the battlefield, the commandment effect that the unit is linked to gets activated. So does that mean that he can use commandments as like almost like a grace would? Because if so, that's very, very interesting. That makes him very, very crazy. Like there's some really cool commandments out there. I'm not sure if that's exactly what that means. I didn't see many people talk about this. Obviously, we're in the really early stages. This is the day before it comes out on JP and KR, so I'm sure there will be a lot of testing from those, the people who play on those versions and everything. And then by the time we get it on, global, we should pretty much have like a really good idea of what he does. But then we'll see like the 100% like accurate translations and everything like that. So yeah, very, very interesting unit. Very bizarre. This is the team that I was talking to you about, where they're using the Liz with him. I think it's kind of cool. I'm not 100% sure. I'm really glad that they can be kind of used together. Like I said, Melly's passive does not apply to her because she's not a 7 Deadly Sins unit. But I think a lot of people were really skeptical on whether or not, this new Melly was going to blow the Liz out of the water. But one of the big things that I haven't mentioned yet is the fact that he is a blue character. He is not light or dark, which is very interesting. I really don't think that it makes that big of a deal. Obviously, light or dark characters do have a small boost that they sort of get just for being those attributes, but I actually think that it's kind of a good thing because, him being blue means that he's going to be a regular festival coin. You'll be able to trade for him in the future in the coin shop, hopefully, which makes him a lot more accessible. Obviously it's not going to be anytime soon that he's going to be in the coin shop or anything, but it is kind of interesting that they didn't go with a light or dark. I was actually expecting him to kind of be light, but we did not end up seeing that. So very, very interesting unit, of course, very over the top, like lots and stuff going on with these passives and everything. But yeah, it is quite intense. I'm pretty sure the demon team actually ends up losing on this one. We'll kind of watch the rest of this match out. You can see he almost kills the enemy melee there. I think another thing that's very interesting is that his cleanse and rank up is actually it reapplies like every time he reaches max stacks. It does it again. So even though he was disabled there and he shouldn't have been able to cleanse again, his passive doesn't have a limit on it, so he was able to cleanse again, which is kind of insane. So you can see he has the damage reduction from Liz on at the moment. He has Tarmia Link on his as well, so he's able to take a hit from Melee and a hit from Demon King, which is pretty nuts. And then he has his ultimate in hand. I think he doesn't even use the ultimate to begin with. I think he uses the ultimate while it's just Demon King on the field here, which is kind of bizarre. But yeah, also, if you're wondering why in the previous matchup they had Merlin in the back for the Sins team, it's because Merlin actually got a new relic with this update that makes her kind of like a backliner for the 7 Deadly Sins team, which is a little weird, but that was the reasoning behind that. But yeah, you can see I love this ultimate animation. It's super, super, super cool. But yeah, honestly, looking like a very interesting character, of course. The banner itself is not like super insane. We can pull it up really quickly. Give me just a moment. Okay, so this is the banner that we're looking at. I don't think it's anything like super over the top. We literally just had the Queen Elizabeth Festival where we got to vote for like all of the banner units and everything. So this one's definitely not going to be as good as the Queen Elizabeth banner was, I don't think. But you have some pretty interesting options in here. Obviously, you have the new melee. He does start at UR, which is kind of interesting. They kind of, during the teasers and everything, that was like the whole marketing thing, is that it was ultimate rare, which I think had people kind of on edge. But we have Demon King in here. We have Purg Melee in here. We have Esterosa. So you have a lot of the really good components for the Demon team here. You even have the Demon team backliners right here on the banner itself. Every character in here that's not a festival is UR level 100, not super awakened, but they're regular awakened. So that's going to be a big boost if you have any of these characters but you don't have them powered up yet. That's going to be just a nice little CC increase, or just like materials you don't have to use. But yeah, if you pull him here, you have the other like big components to the actual demon team here. You do have the old Light Elizabeth, who I don't think is really a great option, but it is what it is. And then you have Deanne and Merlin on here. With Merlin getting her Holy Relic this update, could be kind of nice to pull a copy or two of her. And you have Deanne if you want to sort of put him on like a Sins team. So you kind of have like almost best of both worlds. I think if Light Bond would have been in place of Liz, you literally would have been able to, if you pulled all of the festival characters on here, you would have been able to build him either for the Demon team or the Sins team. The banner lineup itself isn't anything super crazy. I mean, it's nice that Demon Cusack and Demon Chandler are on here. You can't run Nebula Zeldris with Demon King Zeldris, so that one's a little bit weird, but a couple of other characters that are maybe a little bit more niche, like you probably skipped Green Matrona, so she's on here, which is kind of nice. Summer Deanne is very useful to have, so she's cool, and she's on here. Blue Camilla seems to be like a new staple that they keep throwing on any and every banner, which is kind of odd, but it's fine, I guess. And then pretty typical fillers other than that. So not too bad. You get him at the 900 mark guarantee. There's, of course, two guaranteed SSRs throughout there, but looking like a very, very interesting unit. He is, here's the little power creep thing, or the 6/6 rewards or whatever, they go up, but you know, it's obviously in a different language. They had it translated in the 70s Leaks Discord, but that is pretty much it for the unit himself. I think he looks really, really cool. I'm very happy with how he sort of turned out. Obviously, there's some weird quirks here and there about him, but I think overall, looking very, very cool. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on the character. This is going to be it just for like looking over the character in the PvP part of the stuff. I'm going to go over some of the bigger announcements that they did in the news, probably in a separate video that'll be coming out soon after this one. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you guys in the next one.